Hi, I want to speak to you today about the Noahide movement. This video is an attempt to encourage those who are living or choosing a Noahide lifestyle to take the additional step and convert to Judaism. I believe there's a problem with the idea of Noahideism. Note, I didn't say the Noahide laws, which Judaism states is the standard for all non-Jewish humanity. Actually, I admire those who've chosen to take upon themselves the laws of Noah. So my criticism is surely not directed at them, but rather at the rabbis who have encouraged them to remain where they are. Let me explain what I mean by this. Ideally, a non-Jew cannot become a Noahide. Now, every rabbi will agree with this. Why? Because all non-Jews, by definition, are Noahides. You see, by the standard that we are judged by, in the same way we are labeled. Just as when a Jew dies, he is judged against the Torah. So every Gentile who dies will be judged against the laws of Noah, the bare minimum that God requires from non-Jews. So you see, even non-Jews who do not join the Noahide movement will still be judged as Noahides. So ultimately, Gentiles who consciously or unconsciously keep the laws, and those who do not, are still Noahides. See, the problem began when the rabbis, in an attempt to offer non-Jews a belief system other than Judaism, added an ism to the word Noahide, thus telling the non-Jewish world, what's good for us is not good for you. My friend, that's a cruel concept. Ultimately, the word Noahide means non-Jew. There's no movement to join. The attempt to run away from this idea has only caused further confusion in the movement. For example, how or where do they pray? How do they receive atonement? And even what rules do they have to follow? You probably thought it was just 7 laws, right? Well, you're wrong. There are many different opinions on how many laws there actually are for non-Jews, which range from 30 to 620. Why isn't this clear? If the rabbis are so quick to offer non-Jews something other than the glorious relationship they experience with the Almighty, they should be clear on the issue. Why? Because if a Noahide breaks one of his or her commandments, the price is the death penalty. And I'm pretty sure you didn't know that there are rabbinic opinions that God abolished the Noahide laws, but I'll touch on that later. My friends, let me try to give you clarity in this issue. There's no need to embrace a Noahide movement. The world as it stands already has unconsciously adopted Noahide standards for themselves. No one walks around today thinking it's okay to murder or to rape. So ultimately, the idea of pushing these laws as a standard on at least 99% of humanity is a waste. What might end up happening is that the Noahide movement will ultimately separate itself from Judaism and will begin letting out all the resentment on the Jewish world for not encouraging them to gain a greater portion in the world to come by converting to Judaism. Also, today I want to try to clear up a huge misconception out there, so please listen up and listen carefully. I want to debunk the notion that it is easier to be a Noahide than it is to be a Jew. Now, this is why it's not easier. A Noahide is hypothetically liable for the death penalty for the simplest grievance, while a Jew is not. 99% of all the blessings in our God's Bible do not pertain to them. It's not clear whether Noahides receive atonement from their sins without sacrifices, as Jews do. Also, the rabbis even state they don't have a full reward for obeying the 7 laws like Jews do for obeying the mitzvahs. The rabbis also state that they have a separate, lesser world to come. And we also know that Noahides will not partake in the resurrection of the dead. If you're a Noahide, where are you going to congregate? Who are your kids going to marry? What texts are you going to hold sacred? What is your portion in the next world? The prophets teach that when Mashiach arrives, conversion to Judaism will cease. And being a Noahide will be a label that all the nations of the world will wear for not having converted when they had the chance. Just like the Talmud states, non-Jews get punished for not having converted earlier. That's why the Gemara states that a Noahide is liable for the death penalty for stealing anything smaller than a pruta coin, which is tiny, my friends. All these these notions put out by rabbis in the Gemara are actually referring to the Messianic age, when we will have a Sanhedrin again, and when Noahides will have no opportunity to change their status. You understand? The earlier sages would have never imagined that Jews would be encouraging non-Jews to take up the Noahide laws as a lifestyle. Again, I say the Noahide laws are the bare minimum that non-Jewish humanity will be judged against, but not the ideal that they should aspire to. Rabbi Moshe ben Yaakov writes that Jews must always act nobly among Gentiles, because so long as they act deceitfully toward them, who will attach themselves to the Jews? Also in Yoma 84 it states that should an infant be found in a non-Jewish city, he should be taken home and converted to Judaism when he's old enough. There is no mention of encouraging the child to adopt a Noahide lifestyle. My friends, it's the job of Jews to make the world aware of the responsibility to live like human beings, thus keep the Noahide laws, but it's also our job to tell humanity of that higher standard and opportunity that is available to everyone by becoming a full Jew and having a greater portion in this world and the next. Let me share a story that was told to me by a good friend of mine. There was once a Gentile girl who was rooming with a Jewish friend. One day her friend was away, so she picked up one of her friend's books and started learning about Judaism. I believe the book was Horeb by Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch. This girl was so intrigued by what she was reading that night she realized in her heart that she wanted to be Jewish. However, she knew that if she did convert to Judaism, her parents would disown her. So instead, she decided to become a Noahide. However, one day she was studying her Noahide literature and she came across a difficult area that she could not understand. So she called the Rosh Hashiva of Ner Yisrael for his opinion on the issue. Now, this took place in Baltimore. The question went like this: Rabbi, I read something that really disturbed me. Am I Chayav Misa? Am I liable for the death penalty for sitting on my friend's bed without permission? What do you think the rabbi answered? Yes. My friends, the concept of the laws of Noah were never meant to be accepted as a final truth for a person. That's why we even have a history of Jews proselytizing in the old days. Why would Jews proselytize if the ideal for non-Jews is to be Noahides? That is also why you have never heard of Noahide communities existing ever in Jewish history. My friends, for far too long, Jews have been in the habit of not preaching what they practice. And history has taught us that has been one of the main reasons for anti-Semitism. Because when we fail to influence the world will influence us. We should start preaching what we practice. So, this message is for all non-Jews to reach for a higher standard, which is actually easier and more beneficial to keep than the laws of Noah. If you're interested in converting to Judaism, I want you to call your local Orthodox synagogue and tell the rabbi, I want to be Jewish. He may test your sincerity, but persevere, and one day you will be Jewish. For more information on converting to Judaism, please visit our website, bejewish.org. There you will find books, audio, video that will help you in your journey. Thank you.